We all know that article came out in The Athletic, I believe it was last month, that sort of highlighted the discord that was going on in the locker room and behind the scenes. Some of the players, especially Bernardeschi, not happy with the way Bob Bradley was coaching this team. It felt like when that article came out, it was sort of the writing on the wall. You kind of felt like this was inevitable. And now it has happened. But Bob Bradley is, I mean, he's one of the OGs in MLS. This is a
former national
team guy,
yeah.
a 3-time coach of the year. He's won an MLS Cup with the Chicago Fire.
I believe he won as his first
Shield. Yes.
Right, his first year,
his
right,
first
with
year
Chicago.
With Chicago.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting question because Toronto, when I first started at MLS back in 2016, they were like perennially in the playoffs. I think like 3 out of the 4 first MLS Cups that I covered, Toronto were playing in the final.
Seasons and seasons was a championship contender.
That's because Greg Vanney.
And it was definitely because of Greg Vanney, and credit where credit's due for him. And I don't think they've ever recovered since the Greg Vanney era and have been able to maintain that status amongst the best teams in MLS. Now, I think there's a before and after clearly with the Athletic article, and Bernardeschi kind of cracked that door open to all of these journalistic investigations on what's going on with the club, with his public outspokenness about the way that things were handled tactically. And the fact that so many players were willing to go on record, albeit anonymously, I think says a lot about the frustrations going on at the club. And this is not surprising. I don't know if it was inevitable, Bob Bradley's sacking, but clearly it's a club at turmoil where there's a lack of sporting direction. And the players probably aren't on board, or at least on track with the vision that Bob Bradley's trying to put forward.
I mean, it's probably a clash of both of those personalities, but it's one win in 10.
When you invest so heavily on DPs like Bernardeschi, like Lorenzo Insigne, one of them is very outspoken against you. You try to mend things in a couple of games after it kind of, poop hit the fan and it got kind of, you said the bad word. Am I allowed to use the bad word?
No, go for it. I was actually very proud of you.
So it's just, I feel like at the end of the day, plus the results aren't going your way, Toronto had to take swift action, and they need to have a hard think of how
you're glossing over, there's a lot. There's a clash of cultures. It's probably, I mean, I hate to say that it's likely, but it's likely that 2 big European stars didn't really respect the way Bob Bradley managed, didn't respect the sort of drill sergeant style that he has. It's a little weird to show up to a team and the coach's son plays on the team. Maybe you don't know Bob Bradley. Maybe you didn't pay attention to Chievo Verona when he played there, or Roma when he played there, and you don't know that, he has the quality to play on this team. It seems odd. Their relationship is strained. The coach is telling you can't vape.
I mean, hold on.
And then all of a sudden you go, let's go, hold on. He was a baby. You got told you couldn't vape. You show up to your signing with no T-shirt on, right? You got just a suit blazer on. Your hair's dyed. You get told you can't vape around the team, and then you go running to the Athletic to cry about it. It's clearly a clash of cultures. That's a battle between the coach and the players. Coach loses. Also, the team stinks.
Yeah.
So you're not going to win that.
Everything is worse when things are going badly. But, Nico, something that you said I think is important is when he comes out to the Athletic, Bernardeschi, and speaks to him, Bob Bradley had a team meeting with the leaders and decided to sit him out. When you said after that happens, you tried to mend things with the player, how do you do that?
Bernardeschi was being insubordinate. Clearly he was being insubordinate, and I think his being benched or not called up for that Toronto FC game immediately after his comments, I think it was warranted. And then they tried to get back on track. Lorenzo Insigne, who is the bigger European star of the two, has kind of been much more low profile in all of this havoc. And they started getting a little bit better out of Lorenzo Insigne, but just a little bit better. At the end of the day, when you've got that compounded by a lack of results, I mean, TFC is only Inter Miami is worse than TFC.
Yeah, they're 14.
I mean, it's rough. What do you do? What's like an appropriate response?
And LA Galaxy and Colorado, I think, also are worse. I'd have to look at
that sounds right.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's a
really rough situation.
It's it's a dumpster fire at the moment. You spend that much money, you get horrific results, and now you have a player that seems like he's a bit of a locker room cancer, a bit of a problem. You know, and you said it. Insigne was quiet. He's the bigger name, and he's like, I'm not going out there. I'm not vaping. I'm
so
not telling everyone.
What does Toronto do?
I put on a shirt.
In the meantime, when they're looking for a manager now, you've got these two big names, these two big DP signings. What type of manager can come in, manage those two guys, right the ship a little bit? I mean, to your point, you had said that they were looking for that kind of success that they found under Greg Vanney. That has not happened. They tried it with Chris Armas. That didn't work. It has now failed with Bob Bradley.
Here's what
direction
happened.
do you go in?
A husband and wife have broken up, okay? And they both went out into the dating market. Hold on.
I'm sure we want to make
just listen. Just
okay,
listen.
Okay.
They both went out. They signed up for dating apps. They realized it's both trash up there. And now they need to text each other and men. Greg Vanney, you need to come back, okay? Greg Vanney, go back. This is your home. This is where you found success. Bob Bradley, go back to L.A. Swap. That's what they need to do. They need to swap. LA Galaxy trash, Toronto trash. Y'all go back.
Do you think,
Bob had some success in LA.
Do you think
Different
Bob
team.
Bradley? I mean, he was a 3-time coach of the year. He's won MLS Cups. We talked about some of the achievements that he had. He won the Supporters Shield for LAFC. Does this tarnish his legacy a little bit because he wasn't successful at Swansea. He wasn't.
Yeah,
he wasn't successful in Egypt.
But how does he get another? Does he get another MLS?
How do you?
Where does he?
Yeah. Bob Bradley, for sure. Look at how Bruce Arena is doing at his age.
He deserves
winning the
another shot,
Revolution.
but he needs some time away.
You know what? I think
Why?
that one of the things that Alexis mentioned that is important is the father-son thing, and that they had a huge problem with this. They brought it up. Specifically, the Italians brought it up in so many conversations, saying, "Oh, he's your dad. Oh, you're his son. Whatever." And that because that locker room culture, which is so sacred, they couldn't speak about things. In regards to Bob Bradley in front of Michael Bradley, that does cause some tension. And they're saying like, "Oh, he's going and telling Bob whenever there's something in the locker room."
They were carpooling together, reportedly.
And there is something to that sacred relationship in the locker room. You're not supposed to.
There's a trust.
Share.
There's a trust that they didn't have because they felt like, and by all accounts, Michael Bradley almost serves as kind of a player coach in that role. I mean, he's
which he also shouldn't be doing.
Yeah,
it just feels like a mole for the coach. You know, don't say anything around. Mike, he might tell his dad. That's just it's a weird situation to put the rest of the team in. And look, if they played well and they won, we wouldn't be talking about any of these things.
Correct.
Yeah.
Not all of this would work itself out.
And Jenny said it. If they were winning, this is a moot point entirely. And Bob Bradley still probably has a job.